Going live.
I have a
All
tool that you
right.
need to. Can you identify this tool?
Oh wait, hold on. We're streaming now, by the way. But show me.
Oh no.
I don't know. That looks like a pin. It is a pin of
Mm,
some sort.
but it comes apart.
And then it makes a distracting sound.
No, I'm good.
What is it? I have no idea what it is.
Where is that playing? Oh my gosh, it's streaming from. I'm sorry. That I always mute
Just
the.
folks that are watching the stream, I'm letting Troy go because this is how Troy live streams without parental guidance present. It's like
No,
squirrel.
because
I heard a sound. I heard a sound. I
it's
gotta find it.
it streams in TWiP in the community. I had it muted over here, but it started playing in the community, and I had to go find it.
Yeah, yeah, I
It's
get it.
just ridiculous.
It's the tab with the
Anyway,
little speaker on it, Troy. It's the tab with the speaker on it.
this I know it's not in focus, but this what this is this is for doing paracord. So basically, like adult crocheting.
Yeah, I never would have got that one in a million
Yeah,
years. I never would have got it. So
yeah. You
you're
use it for
crocheting
like
now. You're crocheting. You're crocheting.
yeah. Well, oh, I'm doing paracord.
Oh, is that the new
we
word for it? So you
we
can,
don't call it we don't
I don't
call it
crochet. I
crocheting.
don't knit. I don't knit. I make knots. That's what men do. We make knots, but they're in a pattern. No. All right. So this week's critique is water. It's water.
Yes.
Let's bring it up. Where is it? Yeah, there it is. Here's the video that you guys are streaming right now. TWiP 230 or critique 231 water. And interestingly, the first one of 2024. So we're going to dive into this. At the end of this, I'll reveal a couple of minor changes that we're going to make to the critiques as we move forward. That should make things a little bit more fluid to manage. So Troy, did you have any favorites in here? What are your thoughts? Or good shots, good water shots?
Well, there is a specific favorite that I may have posted myself, but
Oh,
aside from that, yes, there's many good images. Yeah.
good. Yeah, I put one in there too, and that's my favorite. So there you go. There you go. All right, folks. So follow along and sound off to us in the chat if you have questions or comments or whatever. You just want to join the conversation. That's the whole purpose of doing these things live, is so that we can have the chat and have you guys with us. So, and then at the end, also, you want to reveal the next week, the next critique now, or you want to do it at the end, make it a cliffhanger? What do you think?
Um, I think we'll do it at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of like a milk at the back, right? Like you have to go through the whole process to see the next critique.
Like Pet Cemetery, you have to go through the thicket in order to get to the burial ground where you bury your pet for it to come back to life, right?
Ah, no, it was we were
As
not
I was
going
saying that, I
there.
was like, this is the guy that doesn't watch horror. You will definitely not know a Stephen King reference. If you are in the chat and you understand that reference, the Pet Cemetery reference, please sound off. Let me know, and I'm not crazy.
Or don't encourage him. Either way.
Yeah, don't encourage me. All right, let's do this. Let's dive in and get through these awesome images. First one up is from our friend, Mr. Craig Stample. He calls this one saltwater. Oh, and it's got your chin on there, too. Look at that. It's got a little
I
iMac
like
chin.
the chin.
Hmm.
I like the chin. I like the
I feel
chin.
like that chin, if you see a chin like that, I always think motivational poster. Like some pithy words in a nice scripty font or serif font need to be down there.
Right.
Life is like
Right.
water.
Well, life is like a wave. Like it could be a lot of things.
Yep.
It's so I love water shots, and I love these long exposure type water shots and the sort of the ethereal effect that they have and stuff like that. I really love them. And this one I really do enjoy a lot. I really wanted it to have more color punch, but the more that I look at it by itself, the more that I appreciate the subtle tones. Where I'm kind of struggling with this image is two things. We have this really bright spot in the lower left that I feel is sort of distracting considering the rest of the image. And the other thing is, like, half the image is out of focus. And the depth of field aspect is really, really nice, but I don't think the whole upper half of the image should be soft. I think that maybe a third of that space should be, right? So a little foreground out of focus, middle ground nice and sharp, and then a little bit of background. Gives us more sense of depth, but half of it out of focus or soft is not my favorite.
Yeah, or no depth at all, right? On this. So if it's, yeah, because I mean, we use some photographers. I gotta couch my words because there are no laws in photography or art, right? But the depth of field or bokeh can be used as a compositional element to draw your attention to a different part of the image, i.e. the foreground, or make a portrait pop out of the background, etc. But in an abstract shot like this, what is the artist guiding us to look at with bokeh, with the shallow depth of field in here? If it's all a similar repeating pattern and undulating body of water, presumably an ocean, is there really a point of interest, or like is the whole thing the point of interest? In which case, does any of it need to be out of focus? I don't know. What do you think?
No, I think what you're saying is totally valid, and I can see that perspective. I think that regardless of what your goal is with the image or where your subject matter is, having half of the image out of focus, I don't think lends itself to optimal viewing, right? You know what I mean? Like you're only going to spend so much time looking at something. Your brain is only going to focus on or see the out of focus area of the image for so long, and then look around for something else of interest. And that's really the lower half and only a portion of that. So
Yeah,
I love the image though. I mean, what a great shot.
yeah, yeah. And scale wise, so I look at this, I'm like, man, I want to see a tiny yellow life raft in there.
Dinghy in there.
A little dinghy, just so you get your brain will instantly know what the scale is, which is something, a little tiny thing, or a Phil Lewenthal bird floating on the water, something like that.
Yeah.
But like this, it's awesome too. So, and the presentation, what do you think of the presentation? Composition?
I like it.
Competition worthy, rather?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's very PPA. And it looks nice. I mean, and also, if you're going to put that in an actual frame and hang it, like, that's not a bad way to bat it either. It looks good.
Okay.
I'm in.
All right. I'm gonna leave it to you because I'm not an expert on the border, the non-standard lopsided borders like this. I mean, it looks great. I mean, it's fine. It is not lopsided in a negative way, Craig, but just not uniform on all four sides is what I'm going for. I don't know. I'm digging myself into a hole. I don't know. I like the shot. I'm just saying I like the shot, but I don't know. My brain still goes to if it's abstract, I want to see all of it, I think. Or maybe make the out of focus areas of the shot more obvious, like more out of focus or more intentional. Maybe that's it. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I'm struggling.
And that's great.
Yeah, that's right. It's abstract. It's supposed to make us struggle. That's the whole point of it. Yeah.
Yep.
Good. All right.
Yep.
All right, Craig Stampley. Well done, sir. Like Nicole likes her steaks. All right. Troy Miller is up, and she likes her steaks like beyond well done. She likes them like back to carbon.
Beef jerky. Yeah.
Yeah, like beef jerky, but well done. Fire is best. I saw this one. This looks like the spine of a book. Like it totally looks like a book that's laying flat. That's what it looks like.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I never saw it that way. No, this is just one of my favorite water shots. This is actually shot in infrared, and then I toned it, so it had sort of the water coloring. And infrared is really fun because the shadows and the highlights tend to change when you look at water. So I like shooting waves with infrared.
Yeah. It's interesting because it's almost this shot is almost like a. It could be an optical illusion because you look at the where the water is, breaking in the middle there, and I see what it's doing. Like it's cresting over, and the right side is curling up under the wave. But depending on how you look at it, it could be doing something different, right? Because it's like it's almost an optical illusion. In which case, it would have been interesting if you had presented this inverted. Like, what would that have done to the shot? And I know you look at your shots inverted sometimes just for compositional reasons. What do you think this shot would have looked like if you had turned it upside down?
To me, it would look like an upside down wave. I don't know.
Because you were there.
Yeah. And, because anytime that you're the maker, right, and you look at your own work, so often you tend to see different things. So I can't see this any other way. I've even tried flipping it horizontally to get a different, feel for it. And like, none of it's right. So.
Yeah. It's a cool shot, though. Again, a little tiny surfer in there under that wave. give us some scale. Why don't you content aware us a little surfer in there, Troy, so we can see what it looks like. Nice. All right, really cool. I like that. So infrared, and then you toned it. I don't think I've seen that before. Like an infrared that doesn't lean into the fact that it's infrared and the colors are kind of juxtaposed in a monochromatic shot.
Right. Well, because I'm special. I'm just, I'm special.
You are a snowflake, Troy.
It's what my school teacher told me. Troy, you're just special.
It's that special.
Sit at the back.
Sit at the back. Thank you. All right. Up next is Nora Zennas. Nora says, enjoying the chaos. Yes, c'est la vie.
Oh, that's fun.
All right. It's like a modern day wizard making something.
Yeah. She's doing incantations. She's doing water bending. That's what she's doing. It's water bending.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my god. Yeah. What was that? The last airbender?
The last airbender.
Yeah. Very cool. What do you think of this?
That's super cool. What really makes this image for me is the expression, her expression in there. And I think that is just so wonderful. I love these moments, and it's hard often to critique these because, if we're looking at it from like a competition standpoint, like there's a lot of things that you would get critical with, right? Like rule of thirds, like your subject's way off to the left. The contrast is slightly flat, things like that. But that's not what this image is really about. This is really about, a photojournalistic moment, the expression, which just overrides everything else. But I would probably crop tighter horizontally, maybe from waist up, and keep it horizontal and really push us into that splash. Because we're kind of missing all that detail, which is stopped so nicely right in front of her face, which I think is so cool.
Yeah, you're right. Because you could punch into this and it becomes much more about the wave. And speaking of bokeh, right? Like in Craig's image, bokeh as a compositional element here could have been to knock that landmass in the background back a little bit so that our red and our wave, whatever the splash, pop out more. And then, like you said, punching in, because we don't really need to see all of that water. We know what water looks like, and we know that this one is splashing somehow. And like you said, it's more about the expression on the person's face. So punch in, leave a significant amount of water in there to kind of sell that. But then allow me to see more of the expression on the face and a little bit less detail of that background so that I, as the viewer, know that, oh, you really want me to look at this face and how this person is interacting and surprised by this wave. So, yeah, because on this side over here, it's great. I mean, depending on the usage, of course, right? So if this was for copy that was going to go on this side because they were doing some sort of story about this area, then sure, we want this space. But if it's purely about this, I feel like being a little bit closer here would give us, more of a portrait kind of feel, or even street photography-ish kind of feel. I don't know.
Yep, I agree. No, it's a great moment. And, getting that moment just before she's probably getting hit with that wave is really what makes this work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she's going to want this photo if she doesn't already have it in any iteration of it. Yeah. This is cool. So, yeah, that the fast exposures, man. Yeah, being able to capture this. I'm sure Nora. I wonder, Nora. I wonder if you're a sniper, i.e., you wait for the exact decisive moment and only then click the shot, maybe two or three shots, or are you the machine gunner, where oh, we know this wave's gonna come up, and a second before it starts, just start rolling, and when it's over, you just go back and harvest the images and find the right one. Which are you, Troy? Are you a sniper? Or you a machine gunner?
I'm a sniper with an occasional Gatling gun. It really depends on the scene, right? Like if I'm doing like a family of photos and they're walking and doing the thing, it's all sniper, it's all precision. But then if I want like one of the kids to jump off the picnic table or something, then I'm gonna switch to 20 frames a second, because
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's the right tool for the right job, of course, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's not about which is the perfect answer, right? It's not about what you're using or how you're using it. It's about, did you pick the right tool to go into battle with, right? For this situation, because a bow and arrow ain't gonna help you in certain situations, and other situations it's the perfect thing. So,
right,
so, very cool. All right. Up next, and thanks, Nora. Very nice. Up next is Irvin Bpin. Irvin says, "Only the shadow knows." Like, who's old enough to remember the shadow?
That's cool.
Like, no, yeah. Anybody? I mean, I think our group is probably on the edge of remembering it. But yeah, I used to listen to that. That was what was his name? Harvey? Not Steve Harvey. What was it? Something Harvey.
I have no idea.
These radio shows, and we would listen to it. God, I'm dating myself, aren't I?
I never listened to those. So,
oh, you didn't? They were made popular way back in the day, right? When they used to, before television, right? All they had was these radio dramas that people would act out on the radio, and people would huddle around and listen to the next episode. And then television, of course, came and ate that up. But later, like what was I listening to? These like early 80s, I think. But there was a radio show that used to come on. Paul Harvey. Yes, it was Paul Harvey. So Paul Harvey used to do this show where he would reveal a concept. And it was always some kind of drawn out thing, about, like, it might have been about some political thing or some celebrity that you didn't know about. And he would tell the story and then reveal at the end the twist. And his catch line at the end of every show was, "And now you know the rest of the story." And that's where that came from. So that's where, oh yeah. And then Only the Shadow Knows was one of those radio dramas that used to happen. That was the original ones. So the Shadow was this Marvel-esque kind of detective character. So what do you think of the shot now that I went on my rampage about radio dramas?
Oh, are we back? Sorry.
Oh, can I unmute now? Oh my God. I love it.
Oh my God.
We laugh, Troy, but everything that's old is new again. Right? So bringing those radio dramas back now in the age of podcasting and audiobooks is...
Right, but not everything should come back. Not everything should.
Now we're back to Pet Sematary. We're back to Pet Sematary again. That was the main takeaway from that horror movie. Not everything should come back.
Oh my gosh. So, Irvin, yes. Irvin's photo. Irvin's wonderful black and white photo.
I'm going to try not to stay on the tracks. Let's do it.
The wonderful black and white photo that Irvin has submitted. Yes. And we're not going to say the title again. So I love the image. I love what you're doing here, Irvin. I love the direction. And to be completely fair, like, I'm really kind of struggling with the dark log or reflection of whatever that object is on the left. It to me, like, that's feeling very distracting, and I really love all the things that are happening in the highlights, in the mids, and the shadows within the tree, sort of that higher key look. It's that bright shadow, that we'll call it a log on the left. I just feel like it's intruding. And I
Yeah.
just wish it, yeah, I really wish it wasn't there, So maybe if you have more from this series or something, maybe push in on the crop. I think it would be wonderful, and I like how the ripples are tight in the lower part of the frame, which would be close to us, and then they loosen up further out. So I feel like there's like some good distance there. So it's kind of, I mean, I really like it. It's neat. It's just that one shadowy thing.
Yeah. Yeah, everything you said. I agree 100%. Cuz yeah, it could go either direction. The one dark area it's a magnet, right? It's pulling it's like a black hole is pulling you into it and taking pulling you as in your attention into it and away from the rest of the image, which is outstanding, right? Looking at it, especially for me, because I like these kind of abstract and is it inverted, is it not inverted? Where are we? Are we underwater looking up, or are we above it looking? I like it when photos kind of make you think about it. Those are the most interesting photos that make you try to unravel the puzzle a little bit in your head. Like in this one, of course, we're all photographers for the most part, so we understand what the artist did here. But to the layperson that's not a photographer, you're kind of look at it and like, oh, I think is that water? Is it upside down? So yeah, it's
Right.
really interesting. Would you, if you were like, say that the dark spot wasn't in there, that we both agree is adding undue weight to that area of the image. Without that in there, would this place in a competition with a shot like this, or specifically abstract shots, which inherently are subjective even more than other shots, right? So would a shot like this place in competition?
Rarely,
Okay. Yeah.
because the judges in like the PPA style competition have a very, very narrow scope of images that they like. And something like this feels, and it feels mundane, right? Like it feels simple. It feels like it was easy to shoot. It doesn't have like a main subject, doesn't have a hook, doesn't have a leading line, doesn't have a lot of those things to it. But that doesn't mean that it's not an amazing photo. But in a competition, you've got like these 12 elements that the judges are going to look at, and most judges have seen 20,000 reflections, and
Yeah.
some are, stellar and amazing. So everything kind of gets compared. So unfortunately, images like this don't do well in competition. So
Interesting.
unless
Okay.
there's some uniqueness to it, something that's unique.
There's some kind of twist in the story. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Which is always unfortunate. Which is always a discussion that I have within my community is that how do we respect like the simpler forms? And simpler isn't really the right word, but forms of art like that don't comply to all the normal standards that we would see in a competition, right?
Hmm.
Um, and there's no good answer for that because it just comes down to preference.
Yeah.
If
It's
you've
subjective. Yeah. 100%. Right.
Yeah, I mean, if you've looked at 1,000 photos of Horseshoe Bend or 10,000 photos of Horseshoe Bend, even an amazing photo becomes mundane,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and that's
Yeah.
hard, right?
Yeah.
That's.
Yeah. And that's why landscape photography for me is so it's the double-edged sword. Like for me, it's like, how could you possibly take another photo of some on this planet or even around the planet that hasn't been done before a million times, a million different ways, by a million different photographers and video and paintings and everything else. And so, which makes when I see outstanding landscape photography, it makes it that much more special because we're like, holy crap,
Right.
I never would have saw that. I go to Yosemite all the time and it doesn't look like that when I go there. How did you get that shot? So yeah, so much
AI. It's all
respect to the
AI
landscape
now.
photographers. Well, yeah, yeah, it's AI. What was the prompt you used to get that
Yeah.
shot? Yeah, but you know what? Which we talk about AI like that, but again, I think when you, at least today, as things stand today, when you see outstanding real photography, quote real photography, don't get upset at me AIs. So when you see real photography, it makes you appreciate it more. Like this shot. Like this shot is from Karen Sweeney. Look at that. Real photography. Could you recreate this with a prompt? And would it look authentic, you think, Troy? Like could an
Not
AI create a
currently.
shot like this? I don't know.
I
I don't know.
I don't think so. Not currently. No, not
Yeah.
currently. But images like this, I always find fascinating because I'm not a big bird photographer. I've chased birds before, but the stoic nature of this, I think, is really wonderful. So I love this image. I wish there was more water. I wish there was more water in the scene. Like a lot of water, a
Yeah.
little bird. But aside
Right.
from
Because our
that,
topic was water, right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Um, but aside from that, I mean, this is a wonderful shot of this. I think that's a what is that? A blue heron? I think that's a blue
Yeah.
heron.
Yeah. I feel it's some kind of heron. Heron.
Yeah, yeah. Nice and sharp all the way through. You see other detail. Background isn't distracting. It's been pushed down. And I appreciate the fact that when we talk about like bird photography, I appreciate the fact that you can see the bird in its natural environment. What is so popular right now for image competitions is you get these beautiful shots of these birds and they completely black out or mute out or replace the background or colorize the background or like do something. And it's just, to me, it becomes a composite or an illustration at that point. It's no
Mhm.
longer really a photograph. So I appreciate, how good this looks in what I would think to be 90% of like what came out of the camera. So
Yeah.
good job.
Yep. And it makes you feel like you're there. So this feels like if I was standing at some distance away from this fowl, I would have seen something that looks very similar to this. Right? It looks, and the natural. Karen, you can tell us if this is true or not, but the natural fall off of the background is nearly perfect for popping the bird out in the foreground and all the stuff that the bird is standing on. So yeah, I'm curious what, and I guess it doesn't even matter if I have to ask, right? If you have to ask, oh, did you blur that background or was that natural from the camera? Then she's already succeeded because
Right,
because
right.
you have to question it or have to as a photographer, and that's coming from a photographer or somebody that's immersed in this industry. Again, the vast majority of people that are going to be looking at this image and appreciating it don't have an imaging or photographic background, I would argue. So they're going to always judge the image on face value. And,
Right,
is it just aesthetically pleasing to me? And does it do the job that this photo is supposed to be doing? And it hits that
right.
on all cylinders. So very cool.
Yep, yep. Love it.
All
Love it.
right, Karen. Then up next is Eric Pronsky. Let's take a look. I love this
I
shot.
want one of these
I
in my
love this.
backyard. Wouldn't that be
Right?
great?
Ugh, well, you have to do a lot of digging in the area where you're at in order to make this happen, Troy.
Yeah, I don't think that would work. That'd be a bad day.
No. Uh-huh. For everybody around you. Yes. No, this
Yeah,
is great.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm curious what you think. I already told you offline that this was my favorite image. I'm
yeah.
curious what you think of it.
Yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite. First and foremost, what I love is the composition. I love that we have this wonderful framing from the two trees left and right. I think that's great. Knowing Eric and what he does, I think that's very intentional for him. So I love that a lot. I like the fact that we have, this brighter light at the top, like we can see the light maybe coming through the canopy of the trees and, lighting the waterfall. I think that's really fun. So I think for me, the only thing that I would suggest is to lean a little bit more into your shadows and your blacks. It feels a little bit thin in the shadows. Maybe that was intentional. Maybe you tried to bring that out, and I wouldn't do that. What I would do is and I think what I'm seeing here in the image is that you've probably opened up the shadows and the blacks in the mid area of the photo to kind of bring out the waterfall, and I would say go back a little bit. Let some of that darkness fall in, kind of close in on the bottom of the waterfall, and let some of that color saturation come in, and give us more of a sense of depth. Right now, it feels a little flat, and it feels a little manipulated to me in some of the highlights and shadows because they're looking a
Mm,
little noisy or thin, where I don't think they would be normally.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for me, again, taking off I'm an imaging person that plays in that world and looking at this as like, would I hang this in my house? For me, on just a pure aesthetic, from a pure aesthetic perspective, it hits. Like I love the color palette, I love the composition, I love the flow of the waterfall down, and the selection of the length of exposure that Eric did in order to get it to look like this versus, because very, like, it's very easy to go in either direction. It's not flowing enough, or it's cotton rolling downhill, right? And this is right in the middle. I see the motion. I see where it was falling. It's, this is a slower speed than we would perceive this at, but I could see it. I can almost, feel and hear and smell what's going on in this shot. I dig it. I could definitely see this one large, like hanging up in some giant, high-tech building downtown San Francisco or LA or something, where they had like 7 floors of wall space and you put a print this big in there. That would be amazing. Yeah. Provided you had the resolution to do that. But,
right.
No,
right. No, great image though. Yeah, you're right.
Very, very nice. All right. Speaking of Phil Lewenthal, Phil's here with Rhythm.
Ooh, a good title. I like the title. Yeah, this is really great. I think that I love these images. I like abstract and I love black and white. So for me, this is like right in my wheelhouse. This is like one of my favorite things. Immediately I heard Frederick say, well, how would this do in competition? And it would struggle, right? Because, and this is where we have to decide as artists and viewers and critiquers of other photographers' work, is like, what's the aspect of this image that matters? But where's the hero? Where am I supposed to look? Everything has equal weight, equal motion, equal blur, equal contrast, basically equal focus. So for me, that becomes a struggle when I'm looking at images. So I just wish this had a sea palm or a rock or a spot within the image that was more still than the rest and a little sharper, so I felt like that was my center.
Yeah. I'm curious. Did you happen to spot the wizard in this shot?
The wizard?
Yeah, there's a wizard in here.
I don't think I see a wizard.
Chat, let me know if you can pick.
I see a hat.
Look, you can't look at it. Look right here. Look, here's it's like almost like a Santa. Like, here's the hair. Here are the eyes. There's one eye. There's 2 eyes. There's a nose, and there's a big mustache and the beard underneath.
What the?
Now you can't unsee that. You cannot unsee it.
No, it's almost like you just made that.
I did not. I'm seeing. You see it, right? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, look at those eyes. How can you not see those eyes looking at you?
Oh my god, that's hilarious. Oh my god,
that's great. I love it. Phil,
that's
did you do that on purpose?
Great.
It is Gandalf
transforming to the white. Yeah.
Yes, it is. Aqua Gandalf.
After he fell, you shall not pass.
Yeah. Okay, you can pass.
Yeah. Good Dog says, I want the gummies Frederick is having. Yeah.
I'm having no gummies. I can't do gummies.
What does it mean if I can see the things he sees? Uh-oh.
Yeah. Hey, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Hey, and just in case you guys didn't notice, I was trying to hide it, but I have something weird going on with one of my eyes, so I may look like I'm having gummies right now, but I'm not. Actually.
Nobody can even see you. What are you talking about?
Well, when I was on camera, like right now,
weird.
So like one eye, this eye is.
Oh my god!
This is why
you guys have no idea.
With all
Before
this
we started,
to hide this little inflamed eye.
Before we started, he made an effort to go get a hat so nobody would notice his eye, and then in the middle
I'm just too honest.
Completely out of context. Jeez.
Yeah, let's do it. Gandalf the Great. And by the way, my eye is messed up. I know. But this shot, Phil, is very nice. I love the shot. Troy says it wouldn't place in competition. I have no idea. I don't know how all that stuff works. But I dig it. And I cannot unsee that wizard that you put in here. And now no one else can unsee it either. But no, I like this one. I like it. When I look in this area, so we've got all the flowing water, all the action in here. These lines up here in the upper right, though, kind of take me out of it. Because now I'm like, I wonder what made those, and what were the forces acting. Is that a splash? And so regardless, it kind of pulls me out of the overall flowiness of the image, because these feel a little bit out of place up there. Not to mention they're in this kind of darkish void in the upper right, which accentuates them, which makes me feel like, oh, you wanted me to see those because all that action is happening, and they take up so many pixels in the image up here. So I don't know. I'm curious what this was. I guess obviously water, but how was it moving to do that? But that would be my only feedback on this shot, is that these elements up here are taking me out of the shot, especially when we have all this kind of crisp, randomly flowing water down in the lower left, and then we have kind of almost a geometric pattern in the upper right.
Yes,
Cool shot.
everything. Well, almost everything.
Almost everything. Almost everything. Hey, I'll take it. Yeah, look. What? Can't quite see Moses parting the Red Sea in this image? Okay, I thought he said he saw Moses there. All right, next shot. Oh, another waterfall from Peter Levshin. Let's see. All right, see, now this one is longer, right? Went to cotton. What do you think? Like, does the cotton add to it? Like, no exposure is long enough when it's flowing water, or should you temper that and pull it back to bring more detail back in the flow?
I think it depends on what you're photographing. So, like Eric's image that we saw, it's really nice to be able to see through the waterfall, the translucency, and see the foliage behind it, right? In this case, it's just more dark rock and things like that. And I think that the shape of how the water is falling is more important, right? So that the shapes that it makes when it's falling for a long time. So usually, if I photograph waterfalls, I tend to try a range, and then I look at them and see like which serves the image best. So in this case, I think, going to pure silky, long exposure actually works best for this, because now we just see sort of the shape that the water is making as it's falling, as opposed to seeing the water itself, right? So,
Yeah.
um, my only critique for this image would be to open up the shadows on the right hand side. It feels flat, right? We need a little more punch in the highlights of the waterfall itself, and then a little bit more depth in the shadows on the right. So it seems a little flat, a little blocked up,
Yeah.
a little constipated in the tonal range.
Yeah. Contrast, constipated. Yeah, I agree. When you look at a shot like this, when I look at that water form in there, it's almost a statue at that point, right? Because it feels like it's all about the artist wanting me to see the forms of the water versus the actual water. Compositionally, the long exposure, because this is water, it makes me want to see it where it's going, and because Peter's showing me all his foreground down here, because this water is clearly flowing in this direction, the exposure is so long that I can't really see where the water. I know I can see that it's obviously moving from right to left here, but I feel like I want to see a little bit more action of that water with this powerful waterfall piling down into this body of water here. I kind of want to see it doing something over here, a little bit, not a lot, maybe just a little. And then again with the unconstipating of the dark areas on the side there. It's really dark on this side and then low contrast on the other side with the bright waterfall in the middle. I wonder if that was intentional. Like, did Peter?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
I think this was probably shot infrared too, so that would explain the darker shadows. Because infrared, if there's no light there, it goes really dark shadows. And what makes me think that it might be infrared is the foliage on the left, like the upper foliage. Like you can see how it's got a little bit more of a highlight to it, and then below that it's dark. That feels more like an infrared shot. And I know Peter likes to shoot a lot of infrared, so
Yeah.
guessing.
Very cool.
I'm guessing.
Does it need a frame or a border of some sort?
Yes. Everything does. Come on, you knew the answer to that before you asked.
I know. It was raw meat to the lion. I know. Yeah. I agree, though. I do. I definitely agree. I need some, I don't know, like a shot like this that's so expansive, like a container just to kind of hold it in, like a maybe a heavy black border on this, especially if you're going to leave that contrast like it is. So they would trap it. That would trap it a little bit more. But would you in competition? Would you ever see a shot like this with no border, just kind of, open?
Yeah, and they don't do well when you say competition, like we're going to talk about like it's a PPA type level competition. Borders are so important for presentation, and you got to remember that everybody's looking at them on a digital display, and you have to be able to separate the image from how they're displaying it to you, right? So if it's a black background, like they're doing in a screen share, like in Lightroom, and it's got a black background, you don't want the edges of the image to bleed into the background. If it's a white background, then it becomes really bright and stark. So a lot of it is just about getting that to separate from whatever your viewing palette is, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're going to hang this on your wall and your wall was like a light earth tone and you had good lighting on it and you printed a metal print, no, you don't need a border. Absolutely not. But think about what the context is that you're putting your image in, about whether or not it needs a border or a frame or something like that.
Yeah, it's all situational. Like if you're putting a bunch of photos together in a mosaic on a wall, then even then it's subjective, right? I was going to say, because then you probably don't need a border because the space between the photos acts as the border, but depending
Right.
on what you're going for, you might want to border or frame the prints as well, so that you're transmitting whatever message you're trying to send.
Yep.
Very cool. All right.
And speaking of border, here comes your favorite border ever.
Yeah, Paulo. He says the memory of water shot yesterday on Garda Lake, the largest lake in Italy. Here, a vertical aspect ratio. Look at that. He does tend to shoot horizontal. Look at this. It has the border. It's abstract. It's water. It's inverted. Come on. What's not to like here?
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot to like here. I think what's really strong about this image is that we have the color element. I love monochrome. I love black and white, but there's times when color is so important, and this is one of those. If this was just monochromatic, it would seem flat. It would lack the depth that it has now. But because we have color and harmonizing colors, right? We have the warm tones and the cool tones. So that's really awesome. And we have this sort of abstract character in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I dig it. This is one of my favorites.
Yeah, this is a favorite as well. Yeah, and that abstract character in the middle to me looks like an arrow. It's kind of pointing up.
Or a tree. Could be a tree.
Or a tree, yeah. Or a mushroom. A green mushroom. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Or a tree with birds kind of hanging out around it. Yeah, very nice.
Yeah. Now the color, and so this is one of those kind of things where, when we go through the world and, maybe we're just out for a walk and we just have our cameras or our phones, look at the things that are more than what they really are, right? If you just focus on the surface of the water, you don't see into it and past it, and then you got to see colors and shapes. And so a lot of times, like, things jump out at us, but other times we have to look for them, we have to hunt for them. So these kind of things I think you have to hunt for.
Yep, a lifelong hunt. All right, up next is Mark Shet. Just another office with a view of the ocean, Kilcare Beach, New South Wales, Australia. Yeah.
Well, that would not be a terrible place to do an image critique, would it? To sit there?
No. Yeah. You're sitting there, some whiskey on the table, kick back. Yeah. Depending on the weather there. Yeah, it's just in the fly content. Those flies. If that's an area without those flies, I'm all in.
Oh, that's great. That's so great. I really dig this image. I'm feeling, well, first of all, I love the perspective. I love the wide angle. I think that's so amazing. And I love the fact that our verticals are vertical. It's so easy to lose sight of that when you're doing a wide angle shot. So I know that Mark is very particular about his images, and so he's aware of them. So I like that a lot. I wish that the pole that's pretty much center, I wish that it was a little bit off center. maybe a little bit more to camera left, so maybe a slight step to our right. I feel like it's dividing the image a little bit more than I wish it would, but
Yeah, and
not
you know what
offensively.
I feel like, I was looking at this image, and kudos, Mark, by the way. This is a great image. Um, when I was looking at it, I feel like the artist Mark was using the idea of symmetry as a compositional element here. And what I mean by that is he split the image almost evenly in the middle with the poles that you hate, right in the middle, and then the horizon line is almost in the middle of the image horizontally. So we have that kind of cross section in the image with our tables kind of adding weight and kind of a little bit of distortion to the left side, and the triangle at the top kind of adding these little areas of geometric interest. But the overall image is almost divided into quadrants because of how he's put it together. So yeah, I dig it. I see what you're saying, about having that, and I think it would be a completely different image if he was to kind of move, take a step to the, let's say, left, or pan the camera to the left or whatever, to move that center piping to the right a little bit, and basically make the view of the ocean less obscured by that pole, by that, for the seat that's in the middle of the frame there. So if he was to do that, I think still be a great shot. It'd be a completely different shot, but I think it would lose that. There's some kind of balance that makes the shot work for me with it being split into quadrants like that, and then the weight of that chair on the left, and the trees on the right weighting down that side as well. So yeah, I thought you were gonna complain about this dark abyss in the foreground here. You didn't say anything about the tile.
Well, I mean, look, to be fair, I mean, I know that this is like a commercial shot, and showing that space is really important. And I'm not offended by that, because one, it doesn't draw your attention. It doesn't suck you in. If it was bright, then it would. It just feels like a space you could walk into and then sit down. So no, that all works for me. I just think that compositionally, some of those elements I wish were less divided equally, right? Like a little bit
Yeah.
more, yeah, a little bit more balance.
Yep. Yep.
And I like those chairs. I want to build those.
Right? Yeah, look at that. Could you do that? You think you could put something together
Yeah.
like that?
Oh yeah.
Wood only? No welding.
Yeah, I
or
could do it.
or metal. You could do it? Nice.
Yeah, of course I
All
could.
right.
That's easy
Here's one I
stuff.
put in. The last one, I think. Oh no, somebody put one in after me. Good. So I put this one in. I call it stoicism, which is the definition: the endurance of pain or hardship without the display of feelings and without complaint is stoicism. So that's what this is supposed to represent. This was a rock I shot a while back in. This is Yosemite. Like, if you've been to Yosemite, you know that road as you're driving in,
Yep.
and you pull off, and this river is there. This is where that was. And it always struck me like this one little defiant. No, it wasn't little. That rock is about, I don't know, probably about the size of maybe half a Prius or something. But that rock there just struck me as just being defiant and just doesn't care. Like, I'm going to be here whether you are here or not, river. I don't care.
You know, that's amazing. But the rock's going to lose in the end, no matter what. It's going to lose.
Give it
'cause
enough
that water
time.
wins.
Yes, the water.
Yeah.
Will win. Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
there's a lesson there. I'm not quite sure I want to dive into it, but there's a lesson there.
Yeah.
I love your shot, by the way. It's funny because I saw this and I thought, did Peter put in another image from when we went to Zion? Because in the river in Zion has some areas like this that are very much the same way, and I just obsess over them and spend a lot of time there. And I love the fact that we have a hero in this image. I mean, it's very clear leading lines and all those kind of things. So it's really strong. Like, this would be my pick, but I can't because it's yours. So, oh well.
Oh, look at that. Hey, good. I'll take an honorable mention. Perfect. No, this is fun. This was, I forgot what I shot this. I think this may have actually been iPhone. I gotta look at the metadata. It may have been iPhone. If not, this was when I think I was shooting either the Z9 or GH5 Micro Four Thirds. I believe it was in that era. So yeah, very cool. All right,
Nice.
up next is Mr. Tim Engel. Tim says, looking at my files, this is the first one I thought of with water. Made on a cool September evening with one light, a 35 millimeter lens at f2.2, 1/60th of a second, ISO 100. And yes, both of us were in the water. All right. Oh, look at that. Look at
That
that.
is
What a book
so
cover.
good.
That's a book cover right there.
I love that. I just love
Yeah.
that so much. That is so cool. Uh, well, first and foremost, I mean, amazing image. We know that Tim is exceptional at what he does. To critique the image, I mean, like if I was going to add anything to this image, I think we have too much headroom, but maybe this was for commercial, so there was copy going to go in there. And to be nitpicky, I wish there was a little bit more light on his body so that the reflection from his face wasn't as strong as it is. However,
Interesting.
those are micro picks, right? When you have an image this amazing, you have to work hard to find something to pick on. So
Yeah,
I love
no,
it.
for sure. Yeah, I kudos, Tim. I dig the shot. I know of course Tim got in the water to get this shot. He doesn't care. Tim will get in the water all day long and do crazy stuff like this. And I'm, looking at the shot, no notes at all. I mean, it was just a really cool shot. Compositionally, if you were to do a different shot like this, Tim, I don't know, you probably have this in the set with this shot where you changed your composition so that there was no landmass in there at all, and it's just our actor, the reflection, and more water behind him. So I wonder if you have a shot like that. I love to see that where it's only the subject, so fewer compositional elements. This shot is great, and I feel like it's telling a story. Like this guy was, I don't know, for some reason on the shore and then walked out here, into the water, build whatever story you think that might be. But it feels like he came from somewhere inexplicably and is now in the water. So that landmass back there, I feel like it adds to the story and the narrative of what's happening in the shot. But I wonder what it would look like without that land in there. Like what would that do? And Tim is in the chat. He says, nope, he doesn't have that shot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, that would be interesting. Images like this, like an original take on what would be a simple shot from somewhere else, right? Like if you were in a studio doing this, that would be this pose. But taking him and putting him in the water, that's very creative. And this makes me want to know more of the story behind that. His expression is also really wonderful. I think that works really well. I see this guy as maybe like a professional of some sort that has a creative flair to everything that he does. And so, you could run an ad for a lawyer, a doctor, a dentist, or, SEO specialist or whatever. And you just look at him and be like, yeah, I connect with this dude right now. Like, I love the fact that you're doing something a little bit different and, good for Tim capturing that. So,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is going so many. Tim's a commercial photographer, so there you go, right? Yeah, this could definitely be like an ad for a bankruptcy lawyer, right?
oh, he's a professional actor, Tim said. So there you go, right? He's
Uh-huh.
doing his job.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, he looks like a character. I wonder if have we seen him in anything, Tim, that you know of? Sound off. Let us know in the chat. All
We've seen him on
right.
TWiP. Does that count?
We have not this guy.
What? We just
You
saw
mean the
him. Come
image?
on,
The
catch up.
image. You know what I'm talking about. I'm a little slow. Today. It's the eye. It's the eye.
It's the
What do you
eye.
think?
The eye that nobody knew about until now.
No, no, no about. Yeah, I know about it. Yeah, I feel like I need a pirate patch or something. What's your favorite? I mean, mine. Yeah, I know clearly, but
Well, it was an easy pick until Tim threw one in there.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
because one of the things that Tim's is very, very strong in the water. So like I'm torn. I'll let you make the tiebreaker, but it's between Eric and Tim. It's
Okay, so
between
let's
Eric and
let's
Tim.
go back and share this. So Eric. Let's find Eric's.
Let's
Which one was
let's flip
Eric's?
the guitar pick and see what's the guitar pick say. Oh, I dropped it
Yeah,
on the
I
floor.
already
It
know. I
doesn't say
already know
anything.
which one is my favorite. This one? Okay, yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, I agree. It is between those two. Given those, I think if I look at these from a uniqueness standpoint, we all love waterfalls. We've seen a million waterfalls, long exposures of waterfalls. we've never seen a shot like this. So, or very rarely have we seen a shot like this. So, on originality alone, I'd have to give it to Tim Engel on this one. Look at that.
Yeah.
Luminar. Back in the day, he was using. Wow.
He still uses Luminar.
Tim, you still use it? Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with Luminar. Luminar's great. I think. I haven't used it in quite a while.
Notice, no words. I said no words.
Last time I used it, it was great. I mean, it's a cool shot. And then Adobe, right? Adobe said, hold my beer on this AI stuff. And, you know, that's a whole nother show that we'll have to do, you know, talk about that. You know, Skylum. Hey, we should do a full-on Skylum show and just discuss it.
Oh, my God.
Other people.
No, let's not.
Yes.
Why? Because the question is why.
Well, why anything, Troy? Going back to my stoic image. Why anything?
How long do you want this to go?
Yeah. Don't get me started. Look. All right. You have to reveal. Go ahead.
What? Oh, I said we could record something when I'm there on Wednesday.
Yes, we will. Troy's coming up to the world on Wednesday. We're gonna hang out and we will record something. I'm gonna bring the mics. Whatever we do, we're gonna mic up at least and have a conversation and see how it devolves over whiskey. How about that? Like in the beginning of the conversation, Troy was all happy-go-lucky, and now he's all misanthropic and.
Yeah, I get really philosophical when I drink, so nobody wants to hear that.
No, it's entertaining.
So our next topic.
Right. Yes, next topic. What is it?
What was it going to be? Oh, nighttime. Yes. Nighttime stuff.
Nighttime. So however you want to interpret that, my brain instantly went to long exposures at night, or for some reason, but no. Just nighttime, you know? And, you know, interestingly, folks, this would be a good opportunity to experiment with the night mode capabilities of your iPhone. Because iPhone is a beast at night, right? So, you know, why not? Give it a shot. If there's no specific shot in mind that you need to use a proper camera and tripod and all that, even with a tripod, see if you can't pull off something cool with your phone. Not a requisite for this challenge at all. The topic is just night, but it'd be interesting to see what you amazing photographers can do with just your phone and its nighttime superpowers, right?
Right.
So,
right. Yeah. Yep. They are quite amazing.
Right. They are. All right. So night is the next one. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to this live stream and chatting. Make sure you like and subscribe to This Week in Photo and this video so that we can get some attention from the algorithm AI overlords over there. We will see you guys in 2 weeks for the next critique. Oh, and I need to reveal what some of the changes that are coming to the critique are.
Oh, yeah.
The main change is, you know, everyone knows that SmugMug purchased TWiPs. So TWiP is now part of the SmugMug Flickr group. The third brand. TWiP is now the third brand in those three brands. So, yeah, and I have a very large Flickr group that's already in existence and has been, I think, since 2008. So what I want to do is, because Flickr is so good at displaying metadata and all the stuff that photographers care about that are associated with images, I want to try doing a couple of critiques using Flickr as the platform for the critique, instead of what we have been doing is using our community and the comments on a particular event. So instead of doing that, we'll just have, you know, I'll write a post about it and share the instructions. It's very simple. You're basically going to throw your image someplace else instead of where you've been throwing it for members, and tag it appropriately. And we will just screen share Flickr and step through the images that way. We'll see how it works. If it works, then great. If not, we'll revert back, and to the way that we've been doing it for the last.
Would be the first time we.
We experiment, man, with reckless abandon. That's what we do around here. We experiment.
Yes.
Hey, you know what? We almost did. We get through all of 2023, Troy, without experimenting with any new tools? Like, remember for a while there was a new webinar tool or a new event tool or something. Like, it's been a while since we since I signed
No,
up for something, I feel like.
we did try. I think we did try something in place of Ecamm one time. There was like one application that you tried,
Oh, StreamYard. StreamYard, right?
StreamYard, and that
Yeah.
was garbage.
Yeah.
total
No,
total
it's not
garbage.
garbage. StreamYard is great. I still have my account and I may go back to it for certain things. It's just that what we use for these critiques and live streams is Ecamm, and it has just a ridiculous amount of flexibility in the things that you can do, for anything. It was hard to give that up, all that flexibility and power. So, and it's, Ecamm is an app. It's a proper app that runs on the Mac. StreamYard is a web app. It is a software as a service that runs in the cloud, and, do the math. All right, so we'll leave it there, Troy. The next critique is night. Let's see what you come with. N-I-G-H-T, not K-N-I-G-H-T. N-I-G-H-T. Night is the next critique. So we'll see you guys there. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. Thanks for all the likes, and thanks for tuning in for this. Tim Engel, reach out, get in touch. Troy's going to be here day after tomorrow. We all need to get together since you're in the area. So let's hang.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
See you later. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.
Cheers.